The heat in Greenwood, Mississippi wasn't just something you felt. It was something that lived on your skin. It clung to your shirt, filled your shoes, and made the cracked sidewalks shimmer like glass. For a boy like me, it was the backdrop of every memory, every mistake, every quiet triumph. That day in 1949, I was only 12, but I remember it like yesterday. The school auditorium was nothing special. Some folding chairs, a chalky blackboard, and a wooden stage that creaked like an old ship. But to me, that stage was a cathedral, a place where the world stopped spinning for just a moment and listened. I stood there, knees shaking in my too tight Sunday pants, staring out at faces that didn't care about a skinny black boy with a lisp and a borrowed tie. They were just classmates, half asleep, arms crossed, waiting for recess. But then I opened my mouth, and something happened. My voice, deep, steady from somewhere far older than my 12 years, filled the room. I was performing a scene from a school play, just a few lines, but I could feel their eyes shift. The rustling stopped. Even Mr. Harwell, the science teacher who never smiled, leaned forward. For the first time in my life, they weren't looking at me. They were listening to me. And in that moment, I knew. Home wasn't much. 2 rooms, peeling wallpaper, and a screen door that never stayed shut. My mother, Mamie, worked as a cleaner. She moved like a whisper through our tiny house, fast, quiet, exhausted. We didn't talk much, not because there wasn't love, but because there wasn't time. She'd leave before I woke, come home after dark, and collapse into her chair like she was made of sand. But when I told her about the play, about the moment on stage, her eyes lit up like I'd handed her a second life. "You got something, baby," she said. "Don't let this place take it from you." I didn't know what she meant then, but I would. I spent hours by the radio, not just listening, studying. The voices, deep, smooth, commanding. Men who could read the phone book and make it sound like scripture. James Earl Jones, Paul Robeson, Sidney Poitier. I didn't know if I could ever be like them, but I knew I wanted to try. I practiced every night, whispering lines from newspapers, pretending I was reading the news, telling stories to nobody. My brothers laughed, my cousins rolled their eyes, but I kept talking, even when nobody was listening. By the time I hit high school, Greenwood was already choking me. It wasn't just the segregation, the closed doors, the stairs on Main Street. It was the quiet part, the part no one said out loud, the expectation that someone like me would never be anything but a janitor, a mechanic, or if I was lucky, a bus driver. So when I told my counselor I wanted to be an actor, he laughed. "You better work on fixing engines, Freeman. That voice won't pay the rent." But it wasn't the first time someone told me who I couldn't be. It wouldn't be the last. When my stepfather got a job in Chicago, Mama said we had to move. I didn't argue, but part of me wanted to scream. Greenwood may have been small, may have tried to swallow me whole, but it was home. We packed what little we had in 2 battered suitcases and boarded the bus north. I remember watching the Mississippi trees blur into fields, then into steel and smoke. I remember Mama gripping my hand the whole ride. Chicago was loud, fast, unforgiving, but I had a voice, and I was going to use it. High school in Chicago was different. There were more kids, more color, more noise. But there was also a drama club. I joined on a dare. First day, the teacher, Mr. Glass, asked me to read a passage from Shakespeare. I didn't even know what half the words meant, but I read them anyway. And when I looked up, he was smiling. "You ever think of acting professionally?" he asked. I shrugged, but inside something cracked open. I didn't go straight to acting. Life had other plans. At 17, I joined the Air Force. They gave me a uniform, a number, and a toolbox. I was a radar technician, stationed far from home, fixing wires and systems I didn't care about. But even in the barracks, I found a way to perform. I'd read to the guys, stories, jokes, monologues, anything to pass the time. They started calling me Hollywood. One night, I looked out the barracks window and said to myself, "This ain't it, Morgan. This ain't the life." After I left the military, I went straight to New York. I didn't have a plan, just a duffel bag, $20, and a head full of voices. I worked odd jobs, janitor, clerk, delivery boy. But at night I hit the acting schools, theaters, open calls, anywhere that would let me read. Rejection? I drank it like water, but every once in a while someone heard me. "You've got presence," one casting agent said, "but no name." I thought to myself, "You will." In the 1970s, I landed a small part in a play off Broadway, just a few lines, but it was enough. Then came a role in a children's show, The Electric Company. It paid the bills, it got me seen. But inside, I wanted more. People saw me as the cool black guy on TV, but I knew I had more to say, more stories to tell, and a voice that was ready to shake the walls. Hollywood didn't come knocking right away. I was in my 40s before I landed anything major. Some said I was too old, too deep, too slow, but I wasn't in a hurry. See, when life makes you wait, it teaches you to mean it when your time comes. And when it came, when the roles started showing up, I was ready. You know, people always talk about my voice, say it's smooth like jazz or heavy like truth. But that voice was forged in silence, in heat, in hurt, in loneliness. It came from watching my mother come home bone-tired every night, from sitting in a classroom where no one said my name right, from a country that told me I could never be more than a shadow. So when you hear my voice now, in film and narration, in story, you're hearing every inch of that road. Now, I'm an old man. Got statues with my name, stars on sidewalks, and folks who say they grew up on my words. But I never forgot that wooden stage in Greenwood. I never forgot my mother's hands, cracked and tired. I never forgot the man who said my voice wouldn't pay rent. And I sure as hell never forgot the boy who stood on stage and made the world go still, even just for a second. That boy. He never left. And if this story meant something to you, don't forget to share it. Leave a comment below about where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button. Fame doesn't wash away the past, it only puts a spotlight on it. I remember standing in a hotel lobby in the 90s, wearing a $1,000 suit, and the concierge looked past me like I was invisible. Some things never change, but I have a voice now, and I use it. I've walked into boardrooms and reminded executives that diversity ain't charity, it's truth. I've spoken at schools and places where kids still think their skin holds them back. I tell them, you come from something deep. You are not an accident. You are the story the world is still trying to hear. Because the fight, it's not over, and maybe it never will be. People always ask me about legacy. What do I want to be remembered for? Is it the Oscar, the films, the voice? Truth is, I don't care much for statues or ceremonies. What matters to me is the pause. That pause people take right after I speak. That quiet moment when the world listens. If a kid in Mississippi hears my story and believes he can make it, that's legacy. If a woman in Detroit feels less alone because I said something honest, that's legacy. I was just a boy who couldn't sit still, who loved the sound of words and the feel of silence. Now I'm an old man with stories in his bones, but I'm still listening, still learning, still hoping that somewhere, someone hears this and decides not to give up. This story is inspired by real moments from Morgan Freeman's life. Some elements are dramatized for narrative impact. Tell us in the comments, which moment in Morgan's journey moved you the most? Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful life stories. Like the video if this voice reached you. Hit the bell to never miss a story worth hearing.